could have a roll call, please. Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. And if we could rise for a moment.
Mr. Lynch. And Mr. Singh.
Okay, thank you. So if we could rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the agenda? And if so, do I have a motion to approve it? Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to the matters for public hearing. It's my understanding that application Z 2022-10, Selco Brothers, Verizon Wireless, have requested a continuance, a further continuance to January 18th. And they've waived any timeframes required to complete the case by the zoning hearing board. Is there a motion to approve that continuance to January 18th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the second item, Z 2023-13. That application also was requested to be continued from our meeting tonight to our next meeting, which is December 21st. Is everybody is there a motion to approve that continuance?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we're going to jump ahead. We're going to skip over for 1 second, number 2023-20 to number 2023-22, as they've also requested a continuance. The applicant sent a letter in dated November 16th saying that he had a work meeting and couldn't attend, and requested that it be continued until our next meeting, which is the December 21st meeting. Is there a motion to approve that continuance? Yes.
Just one information. Oh, we already have 5 applications scheduled for December.
Okay.
So if you're considering a continuance, that are possibly going into January following year, only because in fairness to the board, I don't want to fill up that evening.
Folks want to get Christmas shopping done probably by then. So that's January 18th. The request was made, didn't ask specifically for the December meeting. It asked generally for the next meeting. Okay. Then in that case, we'll understand the continuance has been requested to our meeting on January 18th. Could we revise the motion to approve that?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I know we have the school district here as an applicant. Why don't we take you first? And this is case number Z 2023-23, Marple Newtown School District, seeking a special exception of section 172-104E to allow for a safety fence in front of the school property at Culberson. You want to proceed?
You hit the mic real quick. Green. Perfect.
There we go. Thank you. With respect to this application, the request has to do with the proposed 4-foot high black chain link fence at the Culberson Elementary School on Goshen Road. We requested a special exception pursuant to section 172-104E to permit the fence to be closer to Goshen Road than the front of the building. Section 172-104A of the ordinance provides that no fence, wall, hedge, or similar structure shall be located closer to the street than the frontmost portion of the dwelling unit. And the zoning officer interpreted it it's apparently been interpreted to mean to apply to other types of buildings as well. So we filed he said we needed a special exception pursuant to section 172-104E, and we filed an application for a special exception. There was an existing fence about 5 feet from the right-of-way line, which was to be removed and replaced by the new fence, which is the proposed fence. And it was going to be placed in front of some newly planted trees closer to Goshen Road. Instead, we've moved the proposed fence so that it will now be located on the south side instead of the north side of the tree line, the main tree line there. And so it'll put it roughly 24 feet from the right-of-way line and about 26 feet from the sidewalk. It could be even a little further, I think Pete will indicate, Pete Medican. It's not exact. I mean, when I say 26 feet or so, it may not be to the inch, but it's going to be on this side of the trees, and that's what it looks like it's going to be, about 26 feet. Instead of the 5 feet that the existing fence was, and our original proposed fence was only 5 feet as well. Now we're going to hand up in a minute. I don't know if you have full-size plans or not, but we have some full-size plans.
Well, I was going, if it's about party protestants, I was going to wait for Don to finish his opening and ask if if the file's complete. Yes. So Andy, can you confirm that?
Yeah, we absolutely spent over this, all property owners within 200 feet of the word. We published the time.
Thank you. Thank you. And while we have the break, although I don't know, but is there anyone here who wishes to appear as a party protestant to the application that's been just described? Hearing none, Don, you may proceed.
Thank you very much. So in summary, we're requesting a special exception pursuant to section 172-104E to allow the proposed safety fence to be located closer to Goshen Road than the front of the building. I'm going to hand up exhibit packets. We have only 3 exhibits. A1 is the deed. A2 is a brief bio of Peter Medica, the project architect. And A3 is the revised zoning plan. And I'm going to hand you some full-size copies of that as well. It may be hard to see on the small copies. Yeah, this one. Okay.
Than the ones we had? I don't know. Don, these different than the ones we had?
I think so, yeah.
Hopefully they're bigger.
That was saying is that originally it was only 5 feet in frame. Now we're 4 feet. It's back into the property.
Further away from Goshen Road.
Further away from Goshen Road. We're going to show you, we have highlighted ones to show the area.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
What's not on the screen is not right?
The one on the screen should be right. I think is it the revised one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the exhibit package, but it's going to be exhibit A.
Applicant A3. Revised to the proposed fence, correct?
Yes. So the revised plan showing that that's moving back into the original package.
I'll mark it down.
For those of you who do like the small ones better, this one does show the highlighted in yellow area of that. It's only the portion that's in front of the building.
Got it. Thank you.
This is A3.
Yep. Yep.
That'd be it. Would be each file and a copy of the ordinance.
All right, and these are already marked A1, A2, A3.
A1, A2.
Okay. So these exhibits will be admitted, Don.
Thank you. With that, I did proceed with my first witness,
Yes.
Peter Medica.
You want to swear him, Tom?
I do.
Mr. Medica, please state your name and business address.
Peter Medica, Bonnet Associates, 220 Baldwin Tower, 1510 Chester Pike, Eddystone, Pennsylvania, 19022.
And what is your position with Burnett Associates?
I'm Executive Vice President.
Are you a registered architect in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
I am.
Now, is Exhibit A2 in the exhibit packets a copy of your resume or bio?
Yes,
And did Burnett Associates serve as the project architects for the addition and improvements to Culbertson Elementary School located at 3530 Goshen Road, Newtown Square, PA?
we did.
Is the subject of the current application a section of a proposed black 4-foot-high chain link fence to be located closer to Goshen Road than the building?
It is.
Now, would you, with respect to Exhibit A3, which is up on the board, would you please point out the area of the fence that is in question that requires a special exception and describe its location?
Sure. So what we see on the screen on the drawing is in the heavy shaded areas, the new classroom addition to Culbertson. And off the northeast corner of the building, highlighted in yellow, we are running a 4-foot fence north towards Goshen Road, then turning east parallel to Goshen Road, and then turning southeast down the property line.
Now, for the addition to the building, we went through the land development process, did we not?
We did.
And was the proposed fence along Goshen Road shown on the approved recorded land development plans for the addition?
It was.
Was the fence always a part of this project?
Yes.
Now, as I indicated in my opening, the issue is that Section 104A provides that no fence shall be closer to the road than the building. Is that essentially it?
Yes.
Okay. Was there an existing fence between the front of the building and Goshen Road, which was removed as part of the building addition project with the intent to install the new fence shown on the approved land development plans?
Yes.
Will the new fence be further from Goshen Road than the fence that was recently removed?
It will be. Yes.
That fence was up pretty close to the right of way, maybe 5 feet off or so.
About 5 feet.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, is it the intent to place the new fence on the south side of the row of recently planted trees that are shown on the plan that run along Goshen Road?
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's actually an existing row of existing trees on the south side.
Right.
That's correct.
Right. So originally, the fence was going to be on the north side of those trees, and now it's moved to the south side, putting it further away from Goshen Road.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, the zoning plan shows that the new fence will be a distance of approximately 26 feet from the sidewalk. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, 26 to 28 feet.
Okay. On the original zoning plan, we filed, as we said, the fence was only about 5 feet, and so we moved it back significantly.
Correct.
Is Goshen Road a fairly busy street at times?
Yes.
And what is the purpose of the fence?
Purpose of the fence is to provide containment for the soccer field playground area on the east side of the new addition.
So this is an elementary school, is it not?
That's correct.
So what grades children are we talking about?
Kindergarten through fifth grade.
Okay, so you're trying to keep the children from running out on the Goshen Road or going out on the Goshen Road, and also the soccer balls?
Yes,
This section is near the soccer field,
That's
around
it.
the soccer field.
that's correct.
Okay. In your opinion, will the proposed fence have a detrimental effect on the character of the neighborhood or adversely affect the health, safety, or welfare of the neighboring properties or the township?
It will not.
Will the fence along Goshen Road be partially screened by the row of trees that we've discussed that were fairly recently planted?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. And does the black color of the fence tend to make it less noticeable than if you would have the fence, a silver type fence?
Certainly, yes.
Yes. Okay. Is there anything you would like to add?
Not at this time. No.
Those are all the questions I have, the witness.
Board members have any questions I'd like to ask?
I'm familiar with this. I have a grandchild that's there, so I really think it's necessary safety protection for the children.
Thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment with regard to what's being proposed? Hearing no one. Andy, you have any thoughts or comments? You're fine with it? Okay. Do we have a motion then?
I move that we grant a special exception under section 172-104E to allow a safety fence to be closer to the building.
Pursuant to the revised applicant's exhibit A3. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item on the tonight's agenda will be application Z 2023-20, 41 Radnor Drive, seeking a special exception from section 172-141F to allow for an addition within the required side yard setback. Is the applicant ready to proceed or to continue with its case?
Good evening, my name is Charles Miller. I'm raising my appearance on behalf of the applicant.
Could you wait though? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. There were party protestants earlier. They're present here tonight? Would you like to come down more towards the front in case you want to participate?
Turn the mic on.
Need, you'll acknowledge that on the record, Miller, and we can proceed accordingly.
We have knowledge and no objection to that.
Okay, thank you.
With the board's permission, I'll just give a brief summary. Obviously, some of the members weren't here, but read the notes of testimony. And I wasn't there as well. So my client was before this board last month requesting a special exception from 172-141F in order to permit an addition to the non-conforming residential structure at his property. The non-conformance is it's in with the side yard setback. The proposed addition to the residence is about 369 square feet. It would not increase the severity of the intrusion into that side yard setback, but it follows the existing outside wall of the residential structure, keeping the that setback, I believe at the closest point, it's 8.8 feet. This is about a foot back where this wall extends. So my understanding is that the October hearing, it was continued when the adjacent neighbors raised concerns about impervious surfaces and stormwater, which is an issue in the neighborhood. Since that time, my client was also directed and did so meet with he and his architect, met with the township BCO, and I believe some of the neighbors, if not both of them, were there to discuss the conditions at the property. My client acknowledges adding a 12-foot by 6.5-foot front porch area without a permit, which is impervious surface, which I believe the building code officer will be addressing separately with my client. He understands that, acknowledges that, and knows that there will be some sort of action taken and will deal with that as well, and acknowledges that. My client also replaced an existing retaining wall that was in the rear yard. The calculations of that, it's approximately 50 square feet that have been replaced. The proposed addition, as I mentioned, is 369 square feet. As part of that addition, there's going to be an additional 14 square feet of walkway area. If you take all of that into account, plus that previously added impervious, the total would be 511 square feet, which would require my client to comply with the simplified approach under the Township Stormwater Management Ordinance. So after discussing with my client, having consultation with the architect and the engineer, and an attempt to address some of the neighbors' concerns, my client is here tonight to propose removing a 1-foot section of the driveway, which is adjacent to the neighbor to the south of the property, from the entire length of the driveway along, so that it starts from where the driveway begins just past the front sidewalk, extending all the way to the rear of the property, which is approximately 105 foot long. So a foot all the way down, restoring that area. So removing 105 square feet of impervious. In addition, my client, even though removing some of this impervious and the fact that the existing wall was there, arguably he's under 500 square feet of impervious with all the additions. Regardless, my client is proposing to design and install a stormwater system complying with the township requirements under the simplified approach, which requires the capture of the first 1 inch of runoff from the added impervious. Adding that system, we would propose, would negate any additional stormwater issues which would be created by the proposed addition to the residential structure. So ultimately, we would ask that the zoning hearing board grant the special exception with those as conditions of approval, that he remove that 1 foot of stretch of driveway, and that condition be added that he have to comply with the simplified approach of the stormwater management ordinance, however that may be and is determined with the township. So with that, I would call my client just to confirm that proposal and put it on the record.
Certainly, and he was already placed under oath at our last hearing, so go ahead.
Right. So you're still under oath. So if you could make sure that they can hear you. Did you hear the statement that I just gave to the zoning hearing board?
Yes, I did.
And was everything I said accurate? And you would adopt that as your own testimony?
Yes.
Okay. So I am correct that you are proposing to remove a 1 foot wide portion of your driveway along your southerly neighbor's property, the entire length of the driveway, which has been measured as approximately 105 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you would agree as a condition to any approval that the board would give you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you're also proposing to have a design and install a stormwater system in accordance with the township's stormwater management ordinance under the simplified approach. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And given that the proposed removal of that driveway, the addition of the stormwater management system under the simplified approach, do you believe that your proposed addition to the residence
would have a detrimental effect on the character of your neighborhood? No, you say it loud.
No,
Okay. Do you think it would adversely affect the health, safety, and welfare of the neighboring properties?
no,
Given the proposed removal of the driveway and the addition of the stormwater management system under the simplified approach, do you believe that your proposed addition to your residence would be in harmony with the existing character of the neighborhood?
yes,
Okay. And given the addition of the stormwater management system under that simplified approach, do you believe that the proposed addition will make the stormwater problems in your neighborhood worse? You think the stormwater runoff will be worse if you install that system, or will be same, better?
Better.
You think it'll be better?
Better.
Okay. I don't have anything further. I would turn over the board and the neighbors.
Yeah, so I have a question. So just to be clear, the matter before the zoning board is the side yard setback, right?
Correct.
Which in your testimony, kind of addressed, right? The addition is the issue there. So I'm assuming all the others, it's safe to assume that all the other added context is to address the neighbor's concern related to the stormwater runoff and the retaining wall in the back and kind of the ongoing water problem that already exists there. And by removing 105 square feet of the driveway, so you subtract that from the 511 square feet of impervious surface, that's been competed on. And that would be up to the township whether or not that suffices, following the stormwater management under the simplified approach. But just to be clear, those extra steps that are being taken, that are being under testimony, are to try to resolve some of the or all of the concerns the neighbors have. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
When you remove the 1 foot of the driveway, what are you replacing it with? Stone or grass?
It'd be grass.
Grass.
So you would plant and reseed it, because obviously it'll be dirt under there, you'll put seed.
correct.
Yes.
I have that as a football. That just so happens to be picked up after the wall was installed prior to the survey being done by the site. And but when to get that point here at the site meeting, I would find taking the site. That one that was installed and top of that. I understand. That wall was installed in very steep slope. Hard to do. Not something that it was installed for the sole purpose of respecting storms. So when I left that site meeting, I understand that wall was either going down or that it could. So if that, if I'm wrong, panic or
Right. Right. Just to address that, my understanding is that there was a wall already there. And this replaces the wall, but it extends further than what the original wall did. I'd have to talk with my client about how far would be removed or all would be removed. I don't know what rather do, but I think, I don't know, I mean, the neighbors can probably address that. My understanding that there was some sort of wall there. It has been built back and further in than it was existing. But there was a wall there. If I could have a second. Yeah, move part of that. Or all of it. In the picture. One.
Don't think they should. I don't think that there was
No extent, right, probably. In language.
It's just 50.
But that's letting.
The bug. 16. Yeah, well, that's. But you know, the land, he says that we don't do the land of the city. They just
We can double it.
double. Okay. That's.
They're saying. Knock it back.
Or 20,
Right,
10 feet.
right, okay.
all they're talking about.
If I could address the building code officers, sorry. Spoke with my client. My understanding is that there was a wall. I think it was extended a little further. My client says he'll take it back to the original amount, which he thinks was about 25 feet. But whatever, if there's some additional testimony that indicates, has a better understanding of what it was, but that's approximately what. So it'd be at removing 25 feet of that wall that was replaced. And that would be outside the steep slopes. Right. Correct. That's correct. Right. So if he removes it, he wouldn't have to because now it's not in the steep slopes. Correct.
Steep slopes are all the way down. Back of the house, over
We have a survey. It would not be.
10 yards. Next door neighbor.
Yeah, he got
So the
it.
steep slopes are staying all the way down the yard, from the back of the house down to the bottom.
Wait, sorry, if we can just, I'd like to finish, good.
No,
Finish
go
the
ahead. No,
testimony.
you're
I
right.
I think we need to finish the testimony. And then if we have no further questions, I think then,
Then we would open it up to you
Yeah.
and then to any other members in the community. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Right. So my clients would take that wall back to its original length, which is approximately 25 feet. My understanding is that that's outside the steep slope. That 25 feet would no longer be in the steep slopes because the steep slopes begin after that. So I think it was extended into the steep slopes. My client's saying he's going to take that back out.
any further
Nothing,
evidence or testimony or anything else?
nothing further.
Understanding we were here last month.
Correct.
Do you have any other questions from members of the board? If you think of some, you can always jump in, but do you gentlemen that entered as party protestants have either any questions?
Yeah, plenty.
All right, you can begin then.
I think it's, could
Does
we
he-
just,
Does he have to be sworn in?
No, he was sworn in last
Oh,
time.
was he?
and just so we're on the same page, the questions should be specific to the testimony that was just given and directed at them, right?
Is the new wall in the same position as the old wall? Where is the old wall? Is it buried under dirt right now? The old wall, does it exist under the soil that the new wall covers? You know exactly.
So you got to speak into this. He's asking you. He's allowed to ask you questions, so you got to answer to the best of your ability.
The old one is the same in
Could you use the microphone, please?
What he's asking you is the old wall. Did you take it out or is it still there?
I broke it, I take it out. You know, I did with
Well,
my father.
Yeah.
He know and he.
Well,
came and
that's not what he's
he
asking.
asked
He,
it.
he just wants to know where the wall is and what happened to
I
it,
broke
right?
it, yeah,
You broke it and took it out.
yeah.
Okay.
So. He built that new wall without permit years ago. To retain soil, make it flatter on one side. Have a wall on the other side that faces my property. Was an EP Henry wall or some type that did not look too bad.
Backyard.
Wall is block and extend all the way down. He, he. asked the neighbor-
And I know we're sounding technical here, but if you have questions to ask, you can ask questions.
Yes.
If you have comments that you want to make, maybe a different history or a different testimony about what happened, once they're done with their case, then you gentlemen will have an opportunity to talk about what you feel we should know as we rule upon this thing.
All right,
But for
I
now, you
understand.
just have to
I
ask him
understand.
questions.
Flamur, did you, ask the neighbor, tell the neighbor that you were going to extend the driveway? Tell Joe that your plan was to put a patio on and extend the driveway,
At the Joy side
Joe's side.
until 2006. I
More
haven't
recent.
done anything until now, from 2006 when I bought the house.
You never put a retainage wall in the front yard or doubled the width of your driveway or built your driveway onto Joe's property? You've never
Until-
done those things.
On 2006, right?
In 2006.
Yeah, I did. Not me, the realtor company, they did, when I bought the house in 2006, I requested to fix the driveway.
I requested to fix the driveway.
And they came, they fixed it, and they asked Joy, where is the line? He said, I don't care, it's here. They put the line there. Yeah, they asked. At that time, I didn't know good English. So who did the job? They asked Joy. I was present there.
So who did the driveway extension? Was
The-
it your
the-
family? Was it you and your brother?
The realtor company.
So your brother did not do the driveway? And you did not
My
help?
brother maybe was translator, yeah,
My brother maybe
Whoa,
was
okay.
translator
and helping me.
in helping me.
All right, I was present and that's a lie.
Well, that's when you get to testify, you can say that. Okay, but you have more questions.
Did you widen your driveway without a permit?
I didn't do anything since we talked with Joy. That thing from
What's that?
2000,
You gotta look this way.
from 2006 until now, I haven't done anything on driveway. I don't know what was.
Okay, you can only answer the question. Are you saying from 2006, you haven't done anything to the driveway?
So how long have you owned the property?
18 years,
So what year did you buy the property?
January 2006.
You're saying you haven't done anything since, so you did do work on the driveway after you owned the property?
No,
So this
Except-
work was done before you bought the
except
property?
that line, what they did.
Except that line, what they did. So you're saying in 2006 is after you bought the property, you widened the driveway at that time?
Correct.
Did you get a permit when you widened the driveway at that?
I mean, I'm gonna object just that it's
I don't know.
irrelevant. I don't know why.
I
it's
don't know
relevant,
about that.
But,
Yes or no?
Well,
Did you
we're
get a
talking about
permit?
Impervious coverage, so I don't know why it's not.
well, permit has nothing to do with impervious. I mean, it has to do with impervious. What's impervious? I mean, it's
Impervious is figured
Well,
on what was.
whether you have a permit.
Whoa, whoa,
What is
whoa, whoa,
matched
whoa,
is
hey,
figured on
hey,
what is
hey,
covered and what is
we're not
covered.
going to get in that kind of thing now, okay? He gets to ask questions. If you want to object to there is irrelevant or whatever, you address
Right.
it to the board. You don't go back and forth with him.
Go ahead, you gotta answer.
So
Did you get a permit is
did
what
you
he's
get a
asking.
permit
I
when
don't
you
know.
extended
I
the
don't know
driveway?
that time. Who did that? I don't know. I already answered.
You don't know if you got a permit.
Yes, I don't know.
Okay, so can we check the record of the township to see if you got a permit for the additional covered ground of the driveway?
The question is,
Or you can make a right to know request, whatever.
We can, yeah, I would like a formal request.
We have to
see-
make one then. There's a form online that you can get through the
Okay.
township.
That's fine.
but I will say, if I may, that we discussed some of the past. We don't have a lot of information. I thought. good thing is that there's agreement or efficiency. Somewhere management will be installed, so that will be helpful. Main focus this evening was obviously the
Right.
expansion of conformity. We can try and go back and try to address the history of it. I think it's helping this evening. I just wanted to make sure that in regard to the wall, there may need to be some clarification on the record as to status of that wall, if there's any history in, and we do have a site plan that was surveyed by GME in that August 11th. That's the plan that I referenced where it spoke to and identified the walls being consistent. His testimony to that was that the wall appeared to be in. But the matter is mainly between is that area of steep slopes. That's the only section there. It's not entirely steep. Putting in a plan. Legend identifies the impact and it's approximately 5 feet represented that we have to, that would require conditional use for that encroachment is very steep. I just don't know how to work, even if it's relevant, ice hearing. Distance, the original, how that got.
Correct.
Because as I understand it, the applicant is saying will remove at least what's approaching. It's just more about the timing. How that existing wall got.
And if I can just, add in there, I think we got into the same type of discussion at the last meeting. And, there was a continuance that was requested. And the idea behind that was so that there could potentially be some conversation, about the concerns outside of this room, because what this room is going to decide is, going to be specific to the special exception, that Mr. Latta, I don't know how to say the last name, sorry, but is requesting as it relates to the side yard setback. So understanding that there's been a lot of history and there's probably some neighborly feuding going on, but the issues before us is specific about the request for the exception special with the side yard setback. That's really an existing non-conforming side yard setback, based on the testimony last meeting. But happy to hear, concerns related to that for sure.
Okay, can I want to ask a question to building inspector. I'll ask a question to the building inspector.
You can ask him a question. Yeah, it's about the application.
Yes, it's totally pertinent to what's going on here.
No.
And
Andy?
maybe there's somebody else that can answer the question better, but if you are going to.
Thanks for reasons.
He wants to pose a question to you.
If you were going to ask for a credit by removing a foot of the driveway, does that driveway have to be located on your property? Okay, so the driveway that he wants to remove a foot of is anywhere between 3 foot and 6'6" on the neighbor's property that he wants to remove a portion of the driveway.
I think the question for the applicant.
Is there a plot plan that I can show? If there's a plot plan, then I can show the property line on the plot plan.
We have a survey plan. I just referenced that GMA did it. This survey was done August 11th, 2023. The question, I think, would be the applicant whether or not he meant moving a foot of driveway that's addition or removing it a foot from the property line.
Is it 6 feet?
Maintaining compliance with
This is the
property
line.
boundaries.
Andy, the drawing we're looking at, it looks like the driveway is 6 foot over from the property line.
It does.
So I don't know what he's talking about. At least by the plan that we're looking at, and it's done, it's a sealed plan, so somebody went out there and did something.
Yeah.
So, you can't really look at plot plans when you look at where lines are, because they're generalizations, they're really not, they're taken from the deed and they plot them. Doesn't necessarily mean you can say that his fences or his driveway's in there. We have a sealed drawing that
Where's the seal drawing? Can I see it?
it's up there, and it's also, you can, if you'd like, you can show him a plan. Here you go, excuse me, sir, sir. If you look at the plan, you'll see, the numbers at south 570229.
Okay.
Okay, if you look at that, and there's a line in between there that's 6 foot in. Okay, so his driveway is 6 foot in from the property line.
No, his driveway is 6 foot over the property line.
Sir, I'm only looking at the plan that's in front of me.
But can I explain the plan in front of you?
No, I understand the plan. What it says
Okay.
here is he's 6 foot inside the property line.
You're reading the plan wrong, sir. If maybe the building inspector can.
But either way, Andy,
I measure,
So this is the property line.
I measure your garage.
This is the driveway. This is your property.
Why are they giving us plans into the wrong house?
He doesn't understand. He thinks that the line that you're looking at,
It's the wrong house.
No.
They gave us the wrong, they gave us the wrong drawing.
I'm just.
Yeah,
Can
I
show you
understand.
this drawing? Can I show you?
Where's, no,
he stands corrected.
Yeah,
Andy.
I think
I
it's
need
the
the
one
drawing.
you've seen.
do we have a copy of the drawing for our records?
I didn't know you don't have this. I have. But I mean, if you need another copy, I've only got 11 and a half by 7.
Just so I can look at it.
But either way, Andy, that when you're talking about the simplified approach and the impact of the driveway, it's going to have to be done so that it complies with the township ordinance. And it's going to have to be done on areas on his property, not the neighbor's property. So not regardless, but if these things show it being somewhere that where, at the end of the day, it's going to have to be on his property. Otherwise, it won't be approved and it'll be in violation of the township ordinance.
There's no doubt that stormwater management will have to be located on the applicant's property. It was my understanding there was a conflict as to the existence and whether or not the existence of the driveway that crosses the property boundary was done legally, which I don't know how that could have happened, but obviously, but I think what Mr. Miller and the applicant are proposing is suggesting a condition to the board to remove a foot of the driveway. Now, I personally think that question's got to go a little bit further to say 1 foot from the property line onto 41 Radnor. So there may be more paving removed than 1 foot in totality because you're going to take it from the property line 1 foot.
Right, but that'll be handled as part of the
But
impervious surface.
they're proposing that as a condition to
Yeah.
you.
Tonight, that is a condition to it.
Don't they have to have that anyway as part of the site plan and the building? Isn't it part of the process?
Well, I will say, this site plan references a lot of existing conditions that were not pertinent to the review of the addition. It was showing the existing conditions of the property. And that's why I simply questioned the existence of the wall. And I took the wall, initially I took the wall as an existing non-conforming condition. It wasn't modified. Only to find out later through discussions, and especially Mr. Hand's testimony, brought it to light that no, that was a new wall that had been installed or extended
right? But before, it was extended before this survey plan was done. So, I think, I'm sorry, your name's. Okay, I think his question is valid to say, well, if there was an existing encroachment, it was done without a permit that trespassed on the adjacent parcel. In my mind, that should be removed because it was done illegally. It was a trespass issue. And then the condition of the 1 foot, the condition that they're suggesting, the 1 foot should be taken 1 foot from the property line. Because our current ordinance that would be applied to a new driveway installation would require a minimum 5 foot setback. I don't think it was 5 foot setback when the house was originally built. But here again, we're trying to look back in time, and we don't have that crystal ball. And we have very limited information about the property from our records. And that's why I question the wall, and I understand the concern of the neighbors of removing at a minimum the trespass issue where it exceeds the property boundary.
If he removes a foot of the driveway, I mean, long-wise, how does that impact his impervious space? Is it calculated that's there now? So if it's 6 foot wide and it's 100 foot long, okay, and he's 3% over, if he winds up and takes it back so it's off of his property, 100 foot long, does that mean he doesn't necessarily have to get rid of the foot in the back? Because he'll be closer to the requirements?
I don't think, he's not here before you folks this evening for a variance in regard to impervious coverage. So any reduction of existing impervious will be a benefit. Will be a benefit to 41 Radnor, as well as to the adjacent property that seems to have been affected unknowingly, or knowingly, I don't know, but obviously against his will. That'll also help the impervious coverage on his property. I think the question for the board is, do you establish the condition of removing the 1 foot from the property line on 41 Radnor? So you'll have at least a 1 foot grass strip between the property line and the new driveway profile or perimeter that will remain entirely on 41 Radnor's property.
That will entail him taking.
Any more questions?
Impervious from the neighbor as well.
Exactly.
I do,
Exactly.
I do.
Before we move on from that question, did he answer that question about the 1 foot? Would it be from the driveway or from the property line? The condition, at least.
We just make it.
Yeah, just curious. It's a significant. Exactly. I don't think he's agreed to that.
Right.
Make it half of the driveway. This would be fine, yeah, but then you're not.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Willing to do that.
Wouldn't have needed.
I mean,
Yes, yes.
Because stormwater didn't come into.
he's saying he would move it 1 foot from his boundary line, so it would require additional impervious on the neighbor's property to be moved, plus the 1 foot strip.
Thanks.
That said, do you have any other questions?
Yes. I don't know. Is the addition foundation already existing now? Did you build the foundation and the walls of the addition? Currently, so this isn't a plan for approval. There's things already done. I'm only asking this question to you because we have different board members here that were not at the last meeting.
Say again, what is it?
Is your addition foundation already built and and your first floor walls already built on this addition.
Is the foundation?
the new guys.
Did you already start to build?
He already.
It's in the-
he-
No,
No,
you just say yes or no?
Yes,
Yes, the answer is yes.
he already.
I can-
And just so you understand, gentlemen,
I'm just saying it because I have to,
no, you're
trying
saying
to
it
do
for,
in a pose of question rather than making statements.
So
I
they
understand
read the
that,
notes.
but
Okay.
you qualified that by saying for the benefit of the new members here, because this was talked about before, but they've had the benefit of the transcript. They'll be
Okay,
talking to us. Is there anything new that you want to bring up
yes,
by question? To
my
this,
question, is the new foundation wall on Joe's side of the property, the same side as the driveway, does it stick out past your existing foundation wall? Does your new wall that will be sided for your first floor stick out past the existing brick of your existing house?
Are you coming further out? In other words, coming further into the side? Or are you going straight? Going straight down? You're saying straight, yes. Yes.
To be clear, so there's no further encroachment to the side yard with the new addition. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Correct.
Right off the back, here's the addition.
Oh, he's extending it.
Back.
Well, he's not even increasing in nonconformity, is he?
Well, that's his question,
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Yeah.
but he's not even
You're saying
increasing in nonconformity. Unless he's encroaching.
This comes straight back.
Sure.
So it's like, if you're not coming like, it doesn't go.
This is before. This is not.
But then I think that question with this already being flush, if it's from hiding, will be sticking up past that. That's what he's
Yeah.
asking the question,
Yeah.
would it be sticking out beyond?
Sounds like you said the foundation.
Yeah. And
Isn't that a building permit issue? Wouldn't it be part of that? I don't know.
it is,
Yeah.
that'll have to be,
I mean, it'll have to tear it down if it's.
Right.
past it.
Yeah, right, that's right. It's a I mean, has to be inspected by the building code, BCO, right? It does.
Can I make a statement?
Just,
My-
I
my-
got him, when you're
I
done,
can
you
make
done with your
a statement to you?
questions?
Yes.
Okay, do you have any questions to ask? Okay, so do you have anything further in your case?
I don't know.
All right, do you want to present something to us?
I would like to say that out of my concern is aesthetics. Because they hire contractors to do stuff as they go along, and I'm gonna state that the foundation is 2 inches or plus maybe 3 inches out past the existing foundation, and framed walls are out past the existing brick of the house. Builder, and aesthetically, it looks like the brick house is going on to the addition rather than the other way around. Now, aesthetically, you would want a siding wall to be accepted by brick wall on the corner of the house. You don't want that siding sticking out. Now, from a zoning thing, is it encroaching farther into the side yard? Absolutely it is. Only by this much than the existing house, but it is farther. But from a builder's or designer's or an architectural standpoint, what he is building is not architecturally correct. Sticks out past the existing house. And if you don't understand architecture, when you look at the house from the street, you would see not the house going straight back, you would see the house coming back to like a vinyl siding corner that sticks out 3 inches from the existing brick, and then the siding on the addition straight back. So aesthetically, when you take this into the roof line, you have other issues. You're gonna have a shingle line that comes down and has to pump out farther and then come down farther. So, my qualm really isn't that wants an addition on his house. I think he's entitled to that. It just has to be done with based and under the same walls that everybody else has to follow. I have a problem with the aesthetics of what he's doing. Particularly the wall in the backyard. If that doesn't go, I'm gonna fight this tooth and nail until this whole thing is squashed and he has to. Because that wall is ridiculous. From my property, it looks like the back of a road. And, you know, the purpose of that wall, in my belief, and what a statement that Flamur made to Joe, is to be able to extend the driveway into the backyard. Trying to flatten out one side, have a retainage wall. But it's not like a beautiful landscaping wall. This is more to retain earth and the aesthetics of everything that the Latollaris have done is very coarse, very rough, not good for my property value and detrimental to the neighborhood. So this is the biggest fight why he has. I don't think really wants to take an addition away from Mr. Latollari. It's more of all the walls and rules that has broken since 2006, and you know where he's at now, and not being held accountable for that for water retention. You know, I do have this wall actually is affecting. Making all the water go to one place and run through my backyard, which is causing soil erosion. Which is another issue, but not my biggest issue. Whereas the aesthetic of what he has built and what it's going to look like done. So my request is that this is granted to him that on the behalf of the neighbors that it be done with stipulations of how everything looks and not to be. So I know that he is not a craftsman. I know that he's trying his best with tools that he has and the people he can afford to pay to do the work, but it has to be done right. It has to look good, or else it's just a detriment to everyone. So, I digress.
No, I understood. Do you have anything you want to say? Different than the ones you gave before? You talked before and you talked about the condition of the yard and things like that? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it in addition to that? Is it something new? Okay, thank you. Yeah, but that's where we're getting off track on this thing, is that's not the relief and that's. Well, the condition's been talked about. Do you have a different condition to propose with regard to that driveway?
Well, first of all, for the record, I wanted to say this last month, but we went down a bunch of rabbit holes. Mr. Latollari did tell me in May that his plan was to tear down the deck, put in a patio, and extend the driveway. I believe that that's what that wall was for, that he intended to pave that. That's what I believe that and he didn't say anything about an addition, even though I see people working underneath the deck digging on top. So I think he was trying to do this whole thing on the 2 feet from the jump.
Well, he's certainly on the radar of the township, that's for sure.
My concern has been not the water, and that's the rabbit hole we've been going down, and that's where we spent almost the entire time last week talking about water, not the addition. My concern is with the aesthetics. In my view, what I see on the property in the yard from my property, the addition is clearly extends past the existing brickwork. Clearly extends.
Right, that's already been talked about. And
there have to be steps coming out. About a 3.5 foot door there from that door. None of those things are on the door. So as the neighbor, we see where the property line is. I have several concerns. One of the questions was, about that curve along the driveway. Now, if he's gonna tear that out. Curve, C-U-R-B, I'm sorry. I don't wanna get too close to the mic, because. So basically, he's asking as a condition for the approval to landscape my lawn. That's kind of what I'm hearing. So what recourse do I have if I don't like the job, or if he doesn't do it at all? This is a sore point for me, because when he extended the driveway, when he widened it, he asked me, did I mind if he widen the driveway? I said no, but he's never said anything about putting in a concrete curb. And when he put in the curb, he dug up my lawn, and he never backfilled or seeded any of that. So I don't want to have to go through that again. I don't want to be down at Home Depot buying topsoil and seed and pouring how many gallons of water on it to get my lawn to regrow. I already had to do that once because of the curb.
Understood.
Okay?
Okay.
So I have a big concern about that, although it sounds good, I'm gonna get my property back and the curb gone. But it's still a concern that somebody else is going to be responsible for landscaping that. Some of my other questions, and maybe these are questions for Andy. On the plan, what rules are there about the exterior of the house? Because right now I'm looking at plywood and bare cinder block. The plan says siding. Is there any way that he could just leave the cinder block and the plywood?
Andy, you want to address that for him?
I don't think Andy was paying attention.
Andy, I'm sorry. Gentleman was asking a question addressed to you.
As to the
About the
exterior of the addition, what rules are there about that? Right now, it's bare plywood and bare cinder block. Can it stay that way?
And here again, I mean, I think that may help. Structure and
Your hand, it's not talking.
all of these structures that will have to, the reason the work is incomplete is because we did it to stop working. But if it was found, so when we issued the stop work, we recognized that by first approved exception purpose being here. But the addition, I know there was testimony last month about concrete, strength of that wall, if it stays, are all going to have to be addressed through the building code and through the building inspector process. So absolutely not the issue that on this board will have to meet the building. They'll have to be what the concrete will have to be properly compressive. Retaining wall, if that would stay in, and if it's retaining 4 foot or more of soil, it's going to have to be structurally. So at this point in time, I certainly can't testify to how that wall was constructed. Usually loud enough, but so there are a lot of things that are going to have to happen if this board approves the special exception is being requested. The other good thing, and I think to answer your question concerning the lawn, is with the condition of a stormwater management system, that will be under the review and inspection of the township engineer. And at that time, he may be able to address your concerns with stabilization, proper seeding, proper growth, even though that's a bit outside of the norm for a simplified stormwater management system. He'll be there on the site to do an inspection of the new system. but he'll also do a final inspection to make sure it was stabilized, and that area of your lawn can be looked at the same time. So he does have to, they'll have to achieve 70% growth on any of the disturbed areas, especially, we had talked at our site meeting about the graded area near the wall, and how that, at that time, we talked about removing the wall and establishing the original grades. That area has to be stabilized as well. So with the condition of stormwater management, that will require the township engineer to review it and inspect it. And that would include both the management system as well as the soil stabilization.
Another question, which I don't know, maybe it's moot now, was this curve, which it turns out is on my property. Would I be allowed to just take that down? Do I need to go through the township to bust out that curve? If I wanted?
Well, it depends on the conditions of this board. You may not have to do that. It may be a condition of this.
Maybe, I don't know what they're going to decide, so I figure I'll ask the question anyway.
I'm not an attorney, so I mean, I think you can do what you want with your property personally.
Well, I'm not going to give you any legal advice, but I can suggest that you obviously have a property line issue with respect to some encroachment or some trespass. So that's subject to how many years it's been in place, whether or not it's been that case for 20, 21 years. You know, that might make a difference, but you need to talk to independent counsel on that.
Can I ask a quick question? What would be, considering their, there's been discussion about removal of a foot of the driveway on your property line. And I think your main concern was the aesthetics of that when it's done. What would be if you were to suggest a reasonable condition when that's removed, what would be your suggestion given it's on your property? Like, how would you want it to be left? Yeah, so like sod, grass, like level with your scene. Yeah. I'm asking, like, your preference would be helpful if we're gonna have conditions on this to address your concerns. Okay.
Well, on that, let me ask a question. We're all assuming here that there's an issue with some encroachment on your property with this impervious surface in the curb line, correct? And if the board puts a condition in that impervious surface and curb has to be removed to the homeowner's property line and extend beyond that, are you granting permission for your neighbor to come on and remove that impervious surface and curb line, since we're established that it's your property? Well,
I don't want to just picking it up and walking away.
well, I understand that. We can put a condition in, but for him to do any work on your property, now that you've asserted your property right, he would have to have your permission to go onto your property to remove it. So we need your consent to put that stipulation in the. Okay, and then you could probably talk to him about what best suits
I was not making an issue. I mean, I can driveway, I don't have a problem with my feet. We're in the curb, you know, the curb one about it. Dug up the lawn and just. I had to fill it, seed it, grade it, water it. Dug it up the lawn. That's been my, that's the. That's part of my concern.
Thank you. Did the members of the board have any other questions? No. All right. Does anybody in the audience? I don't know if we have anybody in the audience. Have any questions? Hearing none.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just for purposes, if the board is inclined to review this in executive session.
Yes, we're going to talk.
Okay.
So we're going to do that now. Unless anybody, we understand. So the hearing's closed. All your information has been admitted last hearing, so we're good with that.
Thank you.
Okay. And with that, we'll take a brief recess and the board will meet and consult about things. Yeah, thank you.
Let's be 5 minutes or so. Thank you.
So we'll reconvene the hearing. With the case closed and evidence in, is there a motion to be made?
Yes, so I will make a motion to, I'll make a motion to grant the special exception for application Z 2023 -20 for the exception for the side yard setback, as long as the addition does not increase the existing non-conforming encroachment, with the following conditions as well. Removal with consent of the driveway that's impacting the impervious service issues. The driveway will be removed back to the property line as indicated in the testimony, plus an additional 1 foot on the south side of the driveway. And the finish of that project should leave it in a condition where the natural grass is growing and it's in alignment with the current slope and natural landscape that's there. Additional condition would be, as also indicated in the testimony, the design and install of a stormwater management system using the simplified approach. And an additional last condition would be that the existing wall that's currently in the backyard is to be removed, a portion of it, to bring it in to compliance with the steep slope parameters as defined by these steep slope parameters, and it should be restored back to grade to be in alignment with the steep slope contour, and any disturbed areas that need to be reestablished in compliance. They should be in compliance with the township erosion control measures. I know that was a mouthful.
I want to add in not only steep slope, but very steep slope as well.
Yes.
Add in very steep
And
slope
very steep
and
slope. Steep slope and very steep slope.
do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? The application is granted with those conditions. You're welcome. And
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
seeing no further business on the agenda, motion to retire.
So moved.
Second?
Don't need a second.
No, you don't?
Don't need a second.
Then we're adjourned.
Need a second. Why?